What's going on, guys? Stefan with you, S&E's Garage. Today we're in the basement, so if you'd like, we can be S&E's basement for the day. But this is actually the second time I've done this, and I figured, you know what? Let's get this on video, see if this can help any of my subscribers, or maybe somebody that's browsing that has a tankless water heater. These tankless water heaters are great. Hot water on demand. You never run out of water. But they do require a little bit of servicing that a traditional tanked water heater would not. And that comes in the form of descaling. Now, in this water heater is a stainless steel heat exchanger that gets heated to super high temperatures with a very large high BTU flame in order to heat your water coming out of the heater. And in the process of heating that water, your water, if you have hard water or any water really, is going to build scale and lime buildup in that heat exchanger. And you actually have to flush these. They say you should do it at least every other year. I like to do it once a year on this machine. So we're going to go ahead. I'm going to show you the exact process of descaling this unit. And we're also going to go ahead and clean the two filters. We have our fresh air filter here, and then we have our trap over here for the heat exchanger. So let me get you set up on the tripod. I'm going to show you exactly what we're going to do. Before I put you on the tripod, some of the things you're going to need here is you're going to need at least 2 gallons of vinegar. We have 3 here. We're going to put 2 in there, see how it is. You're going to need some sort of a universal utility pump. We have this 1/6 horsepower Utilitech here. And you're going to need a set of washing machine hoses. So we have one here and one here. And this is going to allow us to circulate the white vinegar through the heat exchanger to clean it out. So like I said, let's get you on the tripod. We're going to unplug the unit. We're going to turn off the gas. We're going to go ahead and prep it for a flush. All right, so the first thing you're going to want to do is unplug your unit. We're just going to go ahead, pull this plug. All right, so that's it. Now the next thing we're going to do is we're going to go ahead, we're going to turn our natural gas off, and we are going to turn our supplies to and from the heater off. So we turned off our cold water going in and our hot water coming out. So now what we're going to go ahead and do is drain the water heater. Alright, so to drain the water heater, you're going to take your 2 service caps. You're going to have one here on the hot side, and you're going to have one there on the cold side. You may need a set of channel locks, and we're going to go ahead and unscrew these. Be careful on the hot. Water's probably hot, so that's off. We're going to go ahead and do the same thing to the cold one, right here. Okay, take that off. And what we're going to go ahead and do is connect our washing machine hose to these. You don't have to kill these. Just enough to get it to thread on there so it's not going to leak. So here's number 1. Okay. And here's number 2. Let me get these hoses set up in the bucket. We'll be right back with you. Guys, we had to go ahead and grab a little table here in order to set our bucket up on. The hoses weren't long enough. Somehow I forgot that. But now we're going to go ahead and drain this water heater. So we're going to turn these service ports on. So there's the hot one. Here's the cold one. And this should allow our hot water heater to drain. And you'll hear it gurgling as it drains. can also open your pressure relief valve to make it drain a little bit easier, so we just went ahead and did that. You're going to let this drain until it's completely empty. So now we know the water heater is completely drained. And we can just let these sit in here and do their thing. So what we're going to do next is we're going to grab another small container. I like to use one of these guys here. And we're going to go ahead and clean both and inspect both the freshwater inlet filter, which is this guy right here. You should only need a small pair of channel locks to get that off. And then we're also going to inspect the catch for the heat exchanger. So like I said, this should come right out. We're going to get under here just in case any water decides it's going to come out. Alright, you just want to inspect this filter. You can see here, it is nice and clean. It's a little discolored. So what we're going to do is we're just going to dump it in our water here, slosh it around a little bit. Make sure you don't lose your O-ring. There's an O-ring here, you can't lose that. And then we're just going to go ahead and thread this guy back in and give it about 1/8 of a turn to seat it with our channel locks. Done, just like that. Okay, now we're going to use our channel locks here, and we are going to pull our catch pin out of the catch for the heat exchanger, and we're going to inspect that as well. Alright, so we're going to grab this, pull this pin out, like so. So now here we have the pin. We're going to get our little soup container under here, and we are going to wiggle this guy down. Oh yeah, wow, there is some nasty stuff in there. So this, guys, is exactly why we are doing this, because look at the sediment that was in the bottom of this catch on this water heater. So we're going to go ahead, rinse this out again in our trusty bucket, and we're going to go ahead and dump this bucket outside right after we reinstall our catch. So I'm going to go ahead, I'm going to put this catch back up, put the pin back in, we're going to dump all that nasty stuff out, and then we're going to start flushing it. Alright guys, we went ahead, cleaned our bucket. You saw we cleaned both of those filters, or the filter and the trap. So now we're going to go ahead, I'm going to lower you down. We're going to take our bucket, we're going to put our utility pump in. Now on the end of your pump, you need to make sure that you have a hose barb on there so you can thread your hose on there. Now you're going to take the hose that's going from the cold side of the water heater, which is this one here, and you're going to thread this onto the outlet of your utility pump, because you want to mimic exactly how the water would flow through this heater when you were using it. So you want it to go in through the cold and out through the hot. So now we're going to take our hot one, we're going to put it in the bottom of the bucket, we're going to go ahead, open our vinegar, and once we get this vinegar open, there we go, we're going to let this thing flush for about 30 minutes. So we're going to pour our first gallon in. Man, this stinks. Okay, there's 1 gallon. We're just going to use 2. The third one's a little excessive. With the size of this pump, it's taking up a lot of that bucket. Make sure you close your pressure relief if you opened it. I almost just didn't. That wouldn't have been good. Alright, now what I want you guys to take note of here really quick, I'm going to take you off the tripod, is the color of our vinegar. You'll see the vinegar is relatively clear. So we're going to go ahead, we're going to dry this plug off a little bit because it did get a little bit wet. We're going to plug it in. And what it's going to do is basically start circulating this vinegar. You'll see the levels going down, but it's going to begin circulating it through the water heater. And here we go. And this is exactly what we want, because now it is circulating this vinegar through the heat exchanger. So we're going to go ahead and dunk this back in the water so we don't aerate it too much. We're going to let it run, like I said, for about a half hour. And we'll be back in a half hour and see how this vinegar looks. Alright guys, so we're about 20 minutes in here to our descaling. And you'll see the the vinegar is a little cloudy. It's definitely not as clear as it was when we started. So it's definitely doing its job. And our heat exchanger in this unit is doing its thing. Now, one other thing I did want to mention, our intake here for the water heater, the air intake for the burner, is plumbed into the house. So I didn't feel it necessary to remove this cover and inspect that air filter. It's just a little stainless steel screen. If you do want to check it, you have 1, 2, 3, 4 screws. There's a screw up here and then a screw inside, and then that filter slides right out. You can check it for any, debris. But like I said, our intake is in the house, in the basement, so I'm not going to check that. But we're just going to give this thing another 10 minutes to descale. Then we're going to go ahead, unplug our hoses, reconnect everything, turn our valves back on, and we're going to be done. Alright guys, we completed our 10-minute wash cycle here. I'm going to go ahead, unplug the pump. I had to put this here because there was a little bit of vinegar spraying out of the side of the pump. It's got like a little port there to let you know it's on, I guess. I don't know, but it was spraying all over the place. So we're going to go ahead, unscrew these, and we're going to open our pressure relief again. And what this is going to do is allow all the vinegar that's in the tank or in the heat exchanger to drain out. So we're going to let that drain into the bucket. A little bit's going on the floor, that's okay. All it's going to do is clean the floor. And then what I want to do really quickly is I'm going to check that catch one more time and see if any sediment or anything from us flushing it dropped into the bottom of the catch, and I'm going to clean it if it did. So while that's draining, I'm just going to go ahead, pull this bad boy out again. Nope, nice and clean. So we'll put that back up in there. So now what we're going to do is we're going to go ahead and disconnect our hoses. These were only finger tight, so we shouldn't have an issue here. And we're going to turn these valves off so they stop dripping. Pull this one off. Alright, so now that we got those off, we can go ahead and put our caps back on, these little copper caps. They're service ports, finger tight, you don't gotta kill them. Same thing on this one. Alright, we're gonna go ahead, Turn our gas back on. We're going to turn our water back on here. You're going to do cold and then hot. After we close our high pressure relief. Alright, so that's on. That's on. You'll hear it kind of make some sloshing noises. You want to wait for that to stop. Go ahead, plug your water heater back in. You'll see it start booting up. Alright, now we're going to go upstairs, check our hot water. Alright guys, so right now we are in the furthest bathroom from the water heater in the house. We're going to turn this faucet on, let it run for a minute. You're going to get some air coming out of it because we did aerate it, and a little bit of vinegar. Give it a few minutes, let it do its thing, and we should get hot water shortly. Turn it off for a sec. And there we have it. There's our hot water. Let's go back downstairs. Take a look at that vinegar. You are going to want to do this on every hot water faucet in your house. So let's go ahead. Let this one run for a minute. Yep. It's hot. I'm going to go ahead and check all the other faucets, then we're going to run downstairs. Alright guys, so here's our vinegar without the pump in it. Now you'll see it does have a little bit of a cloudy, maybe even a little bit of a greenish tint. So we definitely did get a bunch of minerals and other stuff out of that heat exchanger, which will 100% extend its life. So what I like to do, I just leave my hoses that I use to service it right here. I tie them up right on it, right on the gas line, so they stay close to the machine and they don't disappear. You are just going to want to check your service ports here for any leaks. Check your fresh air inlet filter that you inspected. Make sure it's not leaking. Check your heat exchanger catch. That's not leaking, and everything looks good. So with that being said, if this video helped you service your Navian or any tankless hot water heater for that matter, please like, share, and subscribe. We don't really do this kind of stuff too often. We're a little bit more of an automotive channel, but I figured let's get this on video and hopefully it can help somebody. So we'll see you on the next one.